Jam. Toon Jam.
Hello, ye of the jammy face, and welcome to Toon Jam. I am Matt.
And I'm Jamin.
And today we are visiting the world of David the Gnome, originally titled David el Gnomo. It is a Spanish animated television series based on the children's book The Secret Book of Gnomes by Dutch author Will Huygen. Huygen. Huygen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if that's wrong. And illustrator Rian Portvilliers. I'm very sorry about these pronunciations. But hey ho, that's what they are. The series was originally created in Spain by BRB Internacional, who were responsible for the Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds franchise and other cartoons such as Bobo Bobs and Around the World with Willy Fogg.
Oh yeah,
which I do remember that, yeah. And Television Española, also that's from before, and retains a sense of the lush illustrations of the original books. 26 episodes were produced. There was also a spin-off series that was entitled Wisdom of Gnomes.
Oh.
The English language dub, The World of David the Gnome, was produced by Canadian studio Cinar in association with Miramax Films. Christopher Plummer narrated, with the voice of David the Gnome being provided by Tom Bosley. Names you may recognise. David the Gnome aired weekdays on Nickelodeon's fledgling Nick Jr. block from 1988 to 1995. So, some interesting stuff about David the Gnome. After the success of the initial series, the producers created the spin-off that I was talking about, Wisdom of Gnomes, in 1987. In this series, the protagonist is a gnome called Klaus, a judge who travels with his assistant, Danny, and solves disputes. Now, obviously, David the Gnome is about David, but he's a doctor. Yeah. These guys all have jobs. Which we'll go into. Other sequels, both in serial and movie form, were The Gnome's Great Adventure in 1987, The Great Adventure of the Gnomes in 1995, The Gnomes in the Snow in 1999, and The Fantastic Adventure of the Gnomes in 2000. The series was also preceded by the popular television movie Gnomes in 1980, which was based on the same series of books as The World of David the Gnome. In 1997, there was a series called The New World of Gnomes, which was a retelling of the original series as David and his nephew Tomter now travel the world to save animals and preserve nature as it is endangered by problems of modern day pollution and environmental dangers. Lisa, David's wife from the original series, also appears in the show. Other than the humans who cause either unintentional or intentional destruction to nature and harm to animals, the show's other antagonists were three trolls who run into David and the gnomes now and then. Their names are Stinky, Brute and Drool. The show was also made in collaboration with the World Wildlife Foundation, not to be confused with the previously named World Wrestling Federation, WWF. So you can get it on DVD and VHS. And the final fun fact, which is, you can take the word fun with a pinch of salt here. In 2015, the Weinstein Company announced a reboot titled Gnomes. No update has been given since the Weinstein Company went defunct on August 4th, 2018. Can't imagine it's something that's that high on their list of things.
I wonder why. I wonder why we haven't heard anything about
David the Gnome. Yeah. David the Gnome.
This is the time, people. Get Pickerton out.
That's it. Bring back David.
David the Gnome.
But more on that. Okay, so let's discuss our memories of David the Gnome. Have you ever seen it before?
I don't believe so, no. No.
I've never seen this before. Never even heard of it.
I don't think I have. Like, I know there was a lot of, I think it's just there was a lot of sort of almost similar style, you know, very nature friendly kind of stuff when we were younger. So I think I'm just kind of overlapping any of the, you know, the environments with that kind of stuff. But yeah,
it all falls into Animals of Fire Than Wood.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't remember this at all.
Did you ever hear of the books, or did you ever read the book?
No, The Secret Book of Gnomes. It's this big thing. I mean, how many different versions have been made, and
yeah,
sequels and things, and even a reboot? Never once.
No.
I mean, Christopher Plummer's in it.
I know.
This is madness, but hey, you know, it's a new thing for us. So maybe we've got some hardcore David the Gnome fans listening.
Oh yeah, the Gnome heads are all out there.
Yeah, the Gnome heads. So thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy our visit down Gnome Lane. Okay, so I mean, we watched the first episode as always, and this is the most first episode I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
If anything, you get the full intro here. This is like the real deal. Basically, David himself teaches you everything you need to know about gnomes and the gnome world.
Yeah.
And you know, usually, if you said that to me before, I'd be like, "Oh, that sounds dull." But I got to say, David had me hooked.
It's an intricate world, isn't it?
Yeah, and it really is. Like, obviously, you can tell that it's been translated, just because obviously everything is in like grams and kilograms and stuff like that, or whatever. Whereas, you know, the Americans use the imperial system, you know, because they live in the 20th century or whatever. JK, guys, JK.
Burn.
Shots fired. But yeah, so they're having to explain that as they go along. But you know, at the same time, it's quite good because then you're like, actually, yeah, like he's like, oh yeah, gnomes are they're like 6 inches tall, or well, he says it in centimeters, then he says 6 inches tall, or the size of an ice cream cone.
Yeah, and you're like,
like, yeah, okay. You know, and as a kid, the measurements, you know, what's even, you know, whether you're in inches or centimeters.
Yeah.
You got to think about your ruler, maybe.
That's it.
You know, how old do you have to be to start actually really knowing about what an actual, like, you can picture 6 inches in your head. Maybe that's just something I'm thinking is harder than it is, but.
No, yeah, I only know that from like action figures. Is like,
yeah,
I know what a 6-inch figure is, like the height of that is like.
Yeah.
That's where I go to. Yeah.
So when he said ice cream cone, it was like, oh yeah, that's pretty helpful.
Yeah, I wish we measured more things than ice cream cones.
Yeah. And then David as well. I love that the first time you see David the gnome outside of the intro, he's in the bath.
It's the weirdest. Yeah, it is.
You go down, it like takes you down under the tree or wherever it is he lives, this little tunnel into his house. His wife's there. Oh, you've come to see David. And then he's like, "Oh, come in. We're what does he say? We're not very formal."
Yeah, we're not very formal here.
And then he's in the bath.
It's like the weirdest intro to anyone. Like, can you imagine like the first time you met anyone, they were in the bath? That's
man.
It's just so intimate.
Do you know
He's
what,
like not bothered whatsoever either, is he? He's just like, yeah, so you know, I'm just there. Let me tell you about a story. And then he even like gets out at one point as well. Like, luckily his wife brings him a towel, so he doesn't see any like gnome bits or anything. But like, he's so casual, David. Like, body positive, David the gnome. Right.
You know what? When you've been around for like 300 years, because this guy's old, I guess after a while that kind of stuff doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, apparently.
You know, he's just a little gnome going about his life, being a doctor for the entirety of it.
Yeah.
But it's just like they go through every single detail of a gnome. I know that gnomes, when they have kids, and he does have kids, they always have twins.
Yeah, always. And they only have kids once. They have them once, and they always have twins.
Gnomes work in, you can find them in gardens, in houses, in forests, and there's like one in the snow.
Yeah, one in Siberia.
Yeah, there's a Siberian gnome who, can I say, was absolutely terrifying. Like those little gleaming eyes.
Oh, yeah, he had like, it was like a robot from the future or something.
Yeah, it was like a Terminator gnome.
Yeah, he was scary. Like David was like trying to play it down, like, oh, I wouldn't say he's angry or anything, but he's eaten several children or something. Like, he just plays it casual, but it's like, yeah, that guy's terrifying, and nobody wants to be around him.
No. I know how gnomes travel. By otter on water.
Yeah.
By fox normally.
Yeah.
That's his standard mode of travel. Goose.
Express goose. Yeah.
Express goose. Oh, sorry. In the sky. Wolf in the snow.
Yeah. Although I swear it was just another fox.
I think that seemed weird to me because it was the fox in the snow.
Yeah.
But he said wolf, so let's go with it. And he also has a habit of going by rabbit. These rhymes, I didn't come up with them. No. Just so you know, I can't put my name to these. These are in the show. But I retained all this information, I must say.
Yeah.
You get how much they weigh.
Yeah.
It's really specific, isn't it?
It is really. It wasn't what I thought it was going in at all. No. It's like a documentary on gnomes. Like, it's really elaborate.
It is like really like intimate time with David the gnome.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how David must feel like you know him better than you know yourself by the end of this series.
Oh man, like if this was episode 1, like I've seen entire seasons of stuff and I don't know the ins and outs of their lives as much as David the gnome.
And what really sort of blew me away about it is that it shouldn't have been interesting. The way they sort of just tell you everything. It should have just been like, I'm bored of this.
Yeah.
Well, I was fascinated. It was like watching a documentary or something.
Yeah, like. It was. Yeah.
And it was, and then so we get all this information. Then about halfway in, he has a job to do, and we find out that he's a doctor. He's like, "Oh, I didn't even tell you I'm a doctor," and I'm not surprised with the amount of other blooming stuff you told me.
Yeah.
But it turns out he's like a world-class veterinary surgeon.
Yeah. And
he goes from place to place, just healing. So in the first episode alone, he heals 2 animals.
Yeah.
One, which is a goat that's eaten a piece of wire. And like he turns up. Luckily, here's another fact: gnomes can communicate telepathically.
Yeah. Which
is very convenient.
Like it just like I felt like I needed a notepad at some point because it was just like there's so much info coming in that it was like, oh right, okay, so that's how they do this then. Yeah, right. Like it was.
Yeah. I mean, I thought we were going in for some sort of just cartoon about gnomes. I didn't realise that we were rushing straight into a medical drama.
No, this was 100% like it's like Grey's Anatomy or something.
Yeah, I mean. Because he's explaining the procedure as he goes through as well.
Yeah, it really was. I was like, are they going to show blood? Like, is he going to? What's going on here? Are we going to show us the biology of a goat from the inside?
And it's so weird how he was like, I've been doing this for like 300 years or 200 years or whatever. I don't know how long he's been a doctor, but around that. And he's like, and you'd probably think by now that I just take it in my stride, but I feel everything the patient goes through myself. I'm like that. I'm that compassionate. He doesn't say that, but that's what you get from David.
Yeah.
Pure compassion, and he is just the best. Like he is the doctor you'd want.
Yeah.
And so he removes this wire from the goat's throat after hypnotizing it.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't feel any pain. Get around like sort of anesthetic and stuff like that with classic gnome tricks.
Yeah, gnome hypnosis.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
Hypnosis.
To sleep. Yeah.
And then the second one, which I've got to admit did make me chuckle when it happened, but then you sort of realise the severity. A
Yeah,
badger
I laugh too.
walks into a badger walks into a branch and then gets a splinter in its eye, and it's really suffering. Like, I mean, it was bad because I laughed when it happened, but I genuinely did feel bad about laughing when I could see the pain the badger was in. You know, you have to remind yourself this is not real. This is not a real person.
It was well funny because he was just like, do you? Just
I'm a badger in the. Oh God,
no.
my eye!
Like, I don't know how you do that.
It was just like such a low branch as well.
Yeah.
Straight into his eye, and he had to remove a splinter from his eye.
Yeah.
And he was on about, like, he thought he was going to have to remove the eye, but he thought he could find a way of taking it out without damaging the cornea.
Yeah.
Very specific. And then he removed it and then put stitches in the eye.
Yeah, I know. I was like, is that on his eyeball? Like he's stitching? Like, how does that work?
I don't know. that was a bit grim.
Yeah, I was like, this doesn't seem like a. Is that a thing that you do? I don't know. You could stitch the eye. This doesn't break the lens, and I don't know. But it did. Something didn't seem right.
Yeah, gnome stuff.
Gnome surgery, man. They're extreme.
Gnome thread.
Oh yeah, the gnome thread. I don't know where he got his bandages from though. He seemed to have a lot of bandages for stuff. Like they wrapped everyone in bandages afterwards, and it's like that bandage is like way bigger than you. Like where was?
It was weird as well. Like when he started performing surgery on one of them, he took off his clothes.
Yeah, that was weird.
And had like the sort of skin coloured.
It was like a nude morph suit.
I don't know what that was about.
I was so glad it like changed angles so you could see that he wasn't just naked. Because it looked like, I was like, David, like at this point I was like, something's wrong with this guy. He just takes his clothes off all the time. No apparent reason. Like you see him first in the bath, and then he does surgery naked. This guy
is just trying to make the patient feel comfortable, I think.
Yeah, but I think that's just like his doctor gear is like, he hasn't got like blue scrubs, he's got like
flesh coloured scrubs.
Skin tone leotard. Yeah, that's just how he does it.
And then to top all that off, you think you've seen, everything he could tell you. Then you find out about the trolls.
Yeah,
who are these ugly looking weirdos that just cause trouble and hate gnomes.
And they stink as well. Like he made a point of saying how much they smell.
Yeah, like, oh man, they stink. What was weird was, when it sort of showed you a clip of one of them sitting on his throne, and you were like, oh, this guy's bad. And then all of a sudden, like, he's not doing anything, he just sort of flips out.
Yeah.
And then it cuts away from him.
I don't know.
Like, I didn't know if something was lost in translation on that bit.
Yeah,
it wasn't enough to be like, what the hell's going on? It was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then at the end, we've got next time on David the Gnome.
Oh man.
And there's this whole thing. There's a witch in it. The trolls are here. We get a real introduction to the trolls in episode 2, clearly. And it looks like, time's up for David and his fox.
Yeah.
Especially that fox.
Yeah.
He was getting like dragged around. It looked horrible.
Yeah. That fox has been places. He takes David everywhere. It's like the most travelled fox in the world.
And I must say as well, one of the greatest things is just seeing David riding the fox.
Yeah.
I mean, that is pure comedy gold.
His facial expressions are so good as well. Like there's moments where it just zooms straight into his face, doesn't it? And it's just like his eyebrows twitching and stuff. Like.
And I tell you what, I liked the other gnomes in it.
Yeah.
Like they all had obviously they all look very similar. That could be like I even thought about this and then felt like I was being slightly racist. Because I became so enthralled in the show and it felt so real. And I had to remind myself, no, they've just been lazily drawn.
Yeah.
But, the characters were funny.
Yeah,
different as well, even though they all seem the same.
Mm. Yeah, because like some of them are like, oh, how much do you want for this, David? And he's like, oh no, no, just being your friend is my payment. Like, what a guy.
You're just
And
like, oh man, I wish I could be David's friend.
yeah,
I mean, amazing.
it's
So, I
yeah,
mean, I don't know what more we could have garnered from this episode.
no, it was an educational journey.
Yeah, uh,
Ups and downs, and like it was so inviting the way that you were literally round the table with David as he was having his
yeah.
breakfast, and then he'd explain to you all the things that he had for his breakfast. It's like, oh, we've got honey, we've got this, we've got these eggs, but we don't steal them. No,
And then
we
they're like
go.
giving them.
Yeah, he basically like nips up to the little bird hatch, and they've got spare eggs, so he just like takes one for breakfast.
Yeah, have my children.
Yeah. Cool, thank you.
I
Okay.
mean, it doesn't work like that, obviously, but
No. Yeah, close enough though.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and like it's very there's so many like little bits of like sort of just natural education or whatever in there that like, oh, you just mix this with a bit of lavender oil or whatever.
Yeah, like just everything was just, it made me think afterwards, like maybe I should have some lavender oil in the house.
Yeah.
Is that something I need?
Yeah, like I've never really had it, so yeah, maybe that's what I'm missing.
I don't know if you felt like that. There's obviously this big bit at the start where you just see clips of like New York.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's a cartoon in the 80s. It has to have.
yeah, whether you
Yes.
like it or not,
Yeah.
there's gonna be some New York in it.
But at the same time, it's basically saying how, gnomes don't live in the city.
Mm.
That's just not a place for gnomes. And they kind of make it out, it's hustling, bustling,
Yeah.
polluted, all that.
Mm.
And then at the end, he's like, oh, well, I know you've got to go back now, back to the city, the big
Yeah.
cities and stuff, and leave this cozy note. And I was genuinely gutted I was leaving.
Yeah.
You're like, that is where I want to be. I don't want to be, not that I'm in a city, but.
Mm. Yeah, you want to be out there in the forest, don't you? That's what I was like, oh man, I need to check out like how much it costs to go to just like some like Sweden or something. Just go to some like Nordic forest
Well,
somewhere.
it's a Dutch book.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so obviously that's not Sweden, but
Close enough. Yeah.
it's the North Europe.
Yeah. It did make you want to just like disappear away into some woods somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, just live on the land, just get a cabin or
Yeah, and just like
just escape. Yeah.
and just learn to be a vet.
Yeah. That's it.
Like you don't even need to go, you still want the internet, just so you could order yourself David the Gnome on DVD, and then just watch that, and then teach yourself how to be the greatest vet of our age.
That's it. Every episode, like an episode a day, and just like learn the lessons and like.
I can only imagine this is like what you watch at vet school.
Yeah, I think so. I imagine in Denmark or whatever, like this is how they live in the woods. It's like you do like you grow up, they just put David the Gnome on, and it's like this is what we're doing today.
That's it. Off to the woods. You've watched it all now. Now, unless the Weinsteins come back with that reboot, you've got no reason to have a TV anymore. Oh boy. Well, okay. On that note, shall we jump to our reviews?
Yes.
God, this squirrel swallowed an acorn whole. Well, there's only one thing for it. We're gonna need a doctor. We're gonna need Dr. David El Nomo. I shall use my telepathic abilities to contact him now. Doctor, help!
Ah, hello, friend. I seem to have got your call.
Oh, you arrived so speedily.
Yes, I travel by fox and sometimes by express goose.
That's fantastic. I've never traveled goose before.
You must try it.
This squirrel, you must see it.
Let me see. Ah, yes. Oh, no, he seems to be in a lot of pain. I can tell because I'm full of empathy.
Oh, this is so pathetic. Can you help him?
Yes, I will need my tools. Nurse, please bring me my tools. Ah,
Here
yes.
you are, Doctor.
Thank you. Ah, the strip of bandage that seems to be nowhere, but everywhere also at the same time. Ah, first we must set the patient to rest because he is in a lot of pain. Don't worry, I'll use my gnome hypnosis.
Wow, that's incredible. How does he do it?
It's with a tiny watch. Okay, you keep an eye on him so that if he wakes, let me know.
I will do, Doctor.
Right, and now time for me to undress.
Oh my. That's not formal at all.
No, don't worry, we're not formal here. Ah, yes. Don't be alarmed, though. This is not my flesh, but simply a skin-colored morph suit I keep underneath for surgery.
Standard doctor procedure here in the woods.
Okay, so let me get inside the patient. Ah, he is very strained. I will have to make an incision here with my tiny gnome knife.
Oh, lovely.
Accurate. And now, it seems the patient is in so much pain, I can feel it. Despite my hundreds of years, I still feel his pain. And the acorn, oh no, it seems to be trapped inside of his windpipe.
What will you do, Doctor?
Well, it looks like I'm going to need some oil. Nurse, my briefcase full of oil, please.
Here you go, Doctor.
Fantastic. So the lavender here, yes. We'll use the bergamot for a little bit of orange flavour there, yes. And it looks like we're going to need some eucalyptus oil to clear him out here.
Oh my.
Let's rub the oils in. Yes. Okay, remove this large acorn. Don't worry, I've got it.
He has the strength of 8 men.
Yes, and even though I'm 6 inches, or, the height of an ice cream cone. And there we go. Acorn removed. And now, to seal him back up without causing any damage, I'm using a fiber from a horse's tail. But don't worry, it wasn't stolen, it was given to me from the horse's children. And that is a happy patient.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. Look, he's scurrying up the tree. He's fine. What do I owe you? How can I repay you?
Don't be silly, friend. Your friendship alone is payment.
What a kind soul.
Well, it's time for me to go. Back to the woods for me. Upon my fox. Here, boy.
Goodbye, Doctor. Okay, so here at Toon Jam, we have a 3-point rating system that goes as follows. Thumbs up. Here's everything about my life that you could ever imagine you'd want to know. Into
Walking.
Oh man, and that's going to take stitches in the eyeball. And shaky middle, Christopher Walken appearing in this episode.
Good, best. We'll wait for feedback.
Yes, I've been tripping over my words all day. Okay, so David the Gnome, the most episode 1 of episode 1s. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I was definitely caught off guard by what type of show this was, because we'd seen little pictures of it before doing the app, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess it's just going to be some fun gnome antics, some okey doke type stuff, just fun in the woods, But as soon as it began, it was like, this is not what I thought it was. And we start in the city and we see a reflection of our own lives and how we're polluting and basically bad for the environment, and then we go into a deep woodland area and see all the nature being just as it is, and then we slowly go into a gnome's house where he's in the bath. That was a greeting I wasn't expecting. yeah, it's like it's hard to not love just like how much world building there is in this. It's like so like there's so many details, like some that you want to know, some that you probably didn't, but you're getting it all like
Yeah.
at the same time. And it just makes the gnomes seem like, genuine, nice little creatures, and it does make you think about nature. And I mean, like, it's one of those things that I think we've tackled it before, where it's like sort of as these sort of like really early nudges to kids of like, we could be a bit more environmentally friendly and stuff like that. And obviously, kids are the ones to kind of push that stuff to, like we saw in Captain Planet and stuff like that. And so it's got a real nice message at the heart of it, and you can't help but get sucked into David's sort of adventures, whether he's just riding out in the snow or doing his many surgeries. It's just it's a treat. It's not. It's not a cartoon I could recommend to a kid. Almost, it's like this is like the next level of Adult Swim, where cartoons are just deadly serious.
It's just like a pure, just standard documentary cartoon show.
Yeah. Gripping cartoon drama. Like it's something else. It's something I don't think I've ever seen before. So I don't think I can do anything but give it a thumbs up for what it is. David the Gnome. Oh man,
David the Gnome.
Natural treat.
Yeah, I can only agree, because it was phenomenal. I didn't think, like you say, I thought maybe okie dokie-ish, maybe something like Gummy Bears.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to expect at all. I just thought some gnome riding around on a fox having adventures with trolls, but it really was so much different, and it crammed so much into it without it feeling like heavy or dense. It was just enjoyable. It was in a weird way gripping, and you just felt like you wanted to know more, even though they gave you so much.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh, all this stuff. I felt like I was reading a book.
Yeah.
And it made me want to read the book. I was just like, oh, this is well decent. Like, I really want to go and learn more about David the Gnome and his adventures. And now there's a series where it's about a judge. I mean, there's judge dramas.
Oh man,
there's medical dramas. There's everything, and it just and like you say, they don't tend to do it so much nowadays. But it used to be such a big thing to have environmental cartoons.
Yeah.
But now they seem to be few and far between. But now they don't tend. I feel like at the moment there's a lot more social things that they address in the cartoons.
Yeah.
Which is its own thing as well. But obviously the environment is something that is taken sort of a back seat, maybe.
Yeah.
In a way, we used to have lots of cartoons about it, and this is a great example of it, because it's also, like you say, it's a new thing. It's a weird medical drama cartoon.
Yeah.
How does that exist? How is that a thing? And it's really good. It's like one of the things that, of everything we've watched, it's one of those things that I've come away being the most surprised by.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like, oh wow, this was a really good show. I'm really amazed by it. Yeah. So yeah, 2 thumbs up, well deserved. And for once, usually, you at home, you might not agree with us, but if you don't, you can message us if you want. But I can 100% say you are wrong, because this is a thumbs up show.
This is permanently thumbs up. It's in the thumbs up Hall of Fame.
We might have got it wrong many times before. You might not agree with anything we say.
Every time before, maybe we got it wrong.
But this time, this is the right time, and I will stand my ground on a thumbs up rating of David the Gnome.
That's it. So that, once the other Weinstein stuff settles down, get on them to get David the Gnome back on TV.
Someone needs to bring it back.
Yeah.
The world needs David the Gnome.
It really does.
Hospital drama ability. Okay, well, thank you for joining us for David the Gnome. Time to, I guess, start thinking about the festive season. We'll be visiting a few festive festive specials over the next few weeks. So maybe you're a bit of a bar humbug. Maybe you're a Christmas fanatic and have had your decorations up for far too long.
Yeah.
Either way, you're getting Christmas episodes. So that should be a treat.
From one man with a white beard and a red hat to another one man with a white beard.
There you go. So can any of them at least match or get anywhere near close to David the Gnome?
Oh,
we will find out. So join us over the next few weeks. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, please feel free to rate and review us on whatever it is you listen to. It really helps us out and it helps people find us too. So that and it's free. It's super easy. If you'd like to get more bonus content, head over to our Patreon, where we do bonus episodes with running themes, and you can visit our entire backlog on there too. If you're looking for old episodes of Toon Jam, you can also head over to our YouTube page. Otherwise, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do so on the 3 polluted cities of the internet: Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Toon Jam Pod. But otherwise, until next time, as always, you stay jammy.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to help the show keep going, you can be extra jammy by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/toonjampod. Here you can get a shout out on the show or unlock bonus episodes. Ratings and reviews anywhere you listen to the podcast also really help us out. So thank you and stay jammy.